Hi, I'm Shannon Bingham, and this is the Built Different podcast, and we are here today with Tristin Chambers. He is a creator and a CEO. Tristin, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
So give me a little scoop. What do you do?
Yeah, I've been an online creator influencer for 14 years. I've built 3 different startups in the media and entertainment space, and then now these days I run a global entertainment and pop culture company for Gen Z and millennials.
That is impressive. So how did you get started in doing that?
I have a unique background in that I grew up with no adult supervision. My dad was military. So I unfortunately got access to the internet when I was 6 years old, and it was Call of Duty and YouTube. And YouTube was just a year into existing. So I've always just kind of dived in and like stayed on the internet, and over time just kept learning things, wanting to experiment. So that's how I got to where I am now.
And you just figured things out, didn't you?
Basically, I grew up with autism, so I knew I was never going to be like academically gifted or athletically gifted. But there's just like a light bulb that went in my head where it's like, oh, I could certainly do this.
I love that.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite thing that you have gotten for platform work? Like where do you like to play?
For me, I think my favorite platform probably is YouTube. I mean, it's just for me is where I started, where I'm still at. I think as different social media platforms change, each has their own different thing they bring to the table, but YouTube's just the dominant leader. So
Yeah, 100%. So with YouTube, they have shorts and they have the regular stuff. So you play on the shorts as well?
yeah, I mean the shorts, podcasts, looking at a few other things as well in that realm.
So tell me how you took it global.
Yeah, so my first startup I built was a content collective for gamers and creators, and I've worked with hundreds of creators over 13 years. And as I dabbled through music, through nonprofits, through all sorts of things, I just kind of started to get more entrepreneurial. And in 2022, I noticed a gap in the entertainment space where there was not really anybody trying to create for young adults, for millennials. If they were, a major player in entertainment, they were canceling content. So I just kind of realized people have a thirst for this kind of content, whether it's young adult stuff or coming of age stories or unique storytelling that pushes the boundary, and said, let's start with that and then see what else we can do as we go on.
So do you have any great success stories of influencers that you've worked with?
I mean, I would say that the most successful is I worked with a guy named Carl Jacobs very early on in his career, and now he does videos with Mr. Beast. And there's another kid I went to high school with down in Lincoln who also makes videos with Mr. Beast. So it's just kind of weird of where did my career go wrong in all of this? And I still make that joke all the time to them. I'm like, I'm proud of you guys, but I'm also envious as can be. But I think he's probably the biggest one. But I don't like to take credit for people's success.
100%, you're humble.
I always look at myself and the brand I was working on as a stepping stone. If we can help you get to somewhere else, even if it's unintentional, cool.
I love that. Well, and that's a gift that you have in working with people as well.
Yeah.
So what's the cheat code on YouTube? Is there any hints that you can give to people with?
I think the biggest one is just you got to be passionate about what you're doing. Like audiences these days, they can read right through people. If you're not authentic and you're not true to who you are, then people will sniff it out. I see it all the time where people will get in controversy and be like, I didn't say that. And then literally 5 minutes later, somebody will have a clip from their stream of yeah, you did say it.
Yes.
Or somebody will do something business-wise and then get called out because hey, you didn't know what you were doing. So I think that's a big thing, but also just people can tell when you're in it to make money versus you love what you're doing.
Yeah, and we can tell that you love what you're doing as well.
Yeah.
So what's your setup like at home? Is it pretty extensive?
I would say so. I think of myself as a pop culture nerd.
I love it.
So I've got signed band posters, TV show props, and all sorts of different stuff. People very rarely, unless I post photos somewhere else, get to see what my actual computer setup looks like. And even that right now is going through some changes and evolution. So it's just kind of we'll see how things look. If I had a much bigger room for my setup, I'd probably be absolutely balls to the walls.
Yes. So as an entrepreneur, obviously there's challenges. What's one of the biggest challenges that you've faced?
I think the biggest challenge is sometimes not learning when to say no. For me, I'm somebody who's just very steadfast, and like if I feel like something's the right thing to do, then I'm gonna do it no matter what. I think the other big challenge that I've learned and that I've observed is founders not knowing how to operate a company sustainably or have leadership qualities. And like it's obviously something you learn. But at some point I go, hey, you might need help with this.
Yep.
So I think that's the biggest thing.
And it's hard for some people to recognize that.
Yeah, and I think once you realize it, it's sort of like an out-of-body experience. But
yeah, and then you become ultimately aware.
Yeah.
Yeah. So of all of the people, obviously you're very unique in what you do. So tell us about a little secret about you that maybe no one would know.
Ooh, big secret about me. I would say I'm secretly, like most people online know me as a metalhead. But if people were to dive into my like vinyl collection at home or my CD collection at home, a lot of people would be genuinely shocked. It's like I listen to like Adele and Noah Kahan and Hozier and soundtracks from film and TV stuff all the time.
That's amazing.
So like, I really like that kind of thing. I think the other thing too for me, I love watching like old, like deep rabbit hole content from like old days of the internet.
Yep.
And it's funny, like I have friends of mine that work at like places like YouTube who are like, we've worked here for over a decade and we never knew these channels existed. I'm like, yeah,
and you found them.
I'm like, I've been here like chronically online for 20 years.
20 years.
Like, I'm bound to know more than most.
Yeah. So over the next 5 years, what are we going to see from Tristin?
Right now, I mean, I continue planning on doing content. I've been focusing on GRFK. We're in a really fun period where we are building 2 new startups. One is a storytelling company for fan fiction writers and independent creatives. And then we're also building another company called Third Label, which helps independent artists with everything from audience development and publishing and distribution to building a full-fledged competitor to Ticketmaster.
Have you ever thought about writing a book?
I've been asked about it, and the thing I think is like a book is something that you do when you've been like multiple decades into it, or like it's kind of a cash out in some ways.
Sure.
But for me, the way I look at it is my content, my internet archive of posts
is your book.
That's just kind of my like encyclopedia, my Library of Congress at this point. It's like somebody wants to pull something out from there, I'm sure you'll find it, or the Internet Archive has it.
That's so incredible. So obviously within the next 5 years, you're going to grow some more businesses. You're going to be intentional with who you're working with and not say yes as much, right?
I think so. I mean, I'm always very intentional about who I work with.
Yep.
You know, elevating different voices, whether it's people who are non-binary, females in leadership, as well as like, hey, if I see somebody out there who I know like has that personality, that spark for content like I did when I first started, it's like, I want to work with you. I want to help you. If it's a really great idea for content, you know, like we're working with people who have built AAA video game titles that I play. Amazing. And talking to people who delved into online content or in, you know, other aspects of things. So like that as well is just fun to be like, I'm having conversations with people who I shouldn't be having conversations with very early on. That's in incredible. Things.
So how can they find you?
I mean, I'm everywhere on social media. Okay. You can search my first and last name. You'll probably find me. Yeah. Online, I go by Taste of the God. For my media company, our website is grfk.xyz. Okay. So people can find out everything that we're working on, and you know that's basically where we live.
Well, that's great. You are insanely talented, my friend. Thank you so much for coming on our podcast today, Tristin.
It was a pleasure.
I've learned so much, and I wish you luck in the future.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on.